services to be strong and to be safe so that they continue to provide the services that are needed when any disaster comes. Let's work together, let's reduce risk, let's protect health facilities, and let us save life. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good morning.
Thank you, Dr. Milan. And it's a very informative presentation on the current campaign of WHO and ISDR on safe hospitals. She also reinforced that disaster risk reduction is a cross-cutting development issue, as she explained the interface with health issues, and the explanation of the gender perspectives of this interface is very impressive. So thank you, Dr. Milan. Now we proceed with the next presentation, which is entitled "Environment and Disaster Reduction in a Changing Climate, Emerging Gender Issues." And our presenter is Ms. Clara M. Nobe, Associate Program Officer, Executive Office, United Nations Environment Program, or UNEP. Briefly to introduce Clara, before joining UNEP's newly established gender unit in Nairobi in 2007, Ms. Nobe was part of the Environment and Security Initiative in UNEP's Regional Office for Europe and worked for the Environmental Industries Commission in London. She holds a Master's of Laws degree in International Environmental Law, International Economics Law, and United Nations Law from the School of Oriental and African Studies, London. Is this correct? Thank you. Please welcome Clara Nobe.
Yeah, thank you. That will be the last time that you see me up front here, so no worries. And yeah, the environmental links to disaster reduction today. And next, please. The objective of this presentation is really to describe UNEP's approach to disaster risk reduction and to identify concrete entry points for integrating gender perspectives into UNEP's work on disaster risk reduction. Next one, please. The link between disaster risk and the environment has been made in 3 documents: the Millennium Declaration, the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, and the Hyogo Framework for Action. They also recognize that ecosystem services, environmental management, and environmental information offer opportunities to reduce risk, decrease poverty, and achieve more sustainable development. So ecosystems are affected by disasters, but they also contribute to saving lives and to protecting livelihoods. Next one, please. The difference between disaster management and disaster risk management has already been mentioned in the first presentation, but just to very briefly repeat it, in disaster management, the primary focus lies on emergency response and response preparedness, as well as relief and recovery, whereas disaster risk management focuses on strategies and coping capacities to lessen the impacts of hazards. Next one, please. Disaster risk is dependent on 3 factors: the hazard, then the vulnerability of a community, and a community's capacity to deal with that hazard. So while we don't really have an influence on the size and on the magnitude of the hazard, we can actually decrease vulnerability, and we can also build the capacity of a community to cope with the hazard. Next one, please. Still, disaster risk is not constant. but it is dependent on various dimensions of a hazard. So a hazard can have different sizes. It can be more frequent, less frequent, and also it is more likely or less likely to occur. So we always have different kinds of hazard that we have to take into account in disaster risk reduction. For example, cyclone frequency is much more likely, or, sorry, next one, please. It's, well, the very dark, the dark red areas are much more prone to cyclones than other areas of the world. So it is quite important to take these factors into account when determining disaster risks. Next one, please. The second factor of disaster risk vulnerability also requires us to ask who or what is sensitive to the impacts of a hazard, and also what social, physical, and environmental factors make them sensitive. Next one, please. So also, if there is a settlement in a hazard-prone area, then that obviously increases the vulnerability of that area. But are all settlements equally vulnerable? In the next slide, we see that